Marcus Reed stood very still while the officer laughed at him. The sound cut through the night, loud and careless, bouncing off brick storefronts and the idling patrol car. Red and blue lights pulsed across Marcus's jacket, across his knuckles, across the small notebook he held at his side. He had stopped writing the moment the cruiser pulled up, but the officer kept staring at it like it was a weapon. "What are you, some kind of reporter now?" Officer Alan Griggs said, shaking his head. "Man, you people are always pretending." Marcus felt his heartbeat in his ears. He focused on the smell of oil and rain on hot pavement, on the hum of traffic one block over. Calm was survival. Calm was how his father had taught him to come home alive. "I'm just observing," Marcus said. Griggs stepped closer, close enough that Marcus could see a coffee stain on the officer's badge. "Observing what?" "The way you're talking to me," Marcus replied. That was when the laughter stopped. Griggs' eyes hardened. A couple across the street slowed, then kept walking. Someone lifted a phone, then lowered it again. The city exhaled and looked away. "You know what your problem is." Griggs said softly, "You think being calm makes you smart." Marcus said nothing. He watched the officer's hand drift toward his cuffs, watched power move without asking permission. Griggs leaned in and whispered, almost kindly, "Nobody's going to believe you." Metal clicked. The sound echoed too loud. As Marcus was turned toward the hood of the car, his notebook slipped from his fingers and fell open on the pavement. Pages already filled, times and badge numbers carefully written. Griggs didn't notice. The cruiser camera did. Marcus Reed stood on the sidewalk with his hands loose at his sides, breathing slow, counting the cracks in the concrete like they were metronome ticks. The cruiser's lights washed the street in red and blue, and Officer Alan Griggs leaned against the hood, smiling as if this were entertainment. "Look at you," Griggs said. "Real calm for a guy matching a description." Marcus kept his voice even. "I'm walking home from work, sir." Griggs laughed, sharp and loud. "Hear that? So, that's cute." He circled Marcus, boot scraping. "You always this polite, or you putting on a show?" A woman across the street paused with grocery bags, eyes darting, then turned away. Marcus felt the familiar heat rise and pressed it down. Calm was not surrender. Calm was armor. "Do you consent to a search?" Griggs asked. "I do not," Marcus said. Griggs' smile widened. "See? He's been watching those videos." He tapped his radio, theatrically. "You're recording me too." Marcus met his eyes. I For a second, the street went quiet, like a held breath. Griggs' laughter burst out again. "Of course you are. Everybody's a lawyer now." He snapped on latex gloves with a pop. "Hands behind your back." "I haven't done anything wrong," Marcus said. "That's my call," Griggs replied, already grabbing his wrist. Cold cuffs closed. The radio crackled. A neighbor's door shut. Marcus stared at the cruiser's dash camera, memorizing the angle, the blinking red dot. At the station, they left him in a holding room with peeling paint and a bench bolted to the floor. Hours crawled. When Griggs finally returned, he tossed Marcus' wallet onto the bench. "Loitering," Griggs said. "You can go." Marcus stood, wrists aching. "I want a complaint form." Griggs snorted. "For being bored." He leaned in close. "You think being calm makes you untouchable." Marcus slid his phone from his pocket. The screen lit his face. "No," he said quietly. "I think being documented makes you accountable." Griggs' smile faltered, just a hair. Outside, night pressed heavy. Marcus walked, every step deliberate, replaying the stop, the words, the laughter. He uploaded the file, labeled the timestamps, and sent it to 3 places he trusted. His phone buzzed. A single text appeared. "We need everything." Marcus looked back at the station doors as they closed, unaware of what had just been set in motion. He did not hurry. Sirens wailed somewhere distant, a reminder and a warning. Marcus rolled his shoulders, saving the tremor for later, saving the anger for the right room. Evidence needed patience. Truth needed sequence. Tonight had given him both. He breathed in exhausting cold air, steadied his hands, and walked on, knowing the calm they mocked would be the reason they fell. The camera light lived in his mind, unblinking, counting everything, waiting for daylight, for desks and subpoenas, for laughter to curdle into testimony, when names mattered and silence finally broke under official letterhead and sworn voices on record, forever. Marcus sat at his small kitchen table, laptop glowing, coffee cooling. Notes sprawled around him, names, badge numbers, dates, locations. Every entry a quiet accusation, every line a pattern. Dana Holloway, his colleague at Civitas Watch, leaned over the table, pointing at the screen. So that's the third stop this month. Same officer. Marcus nodded, tapping the screen. And there are at least 5 more before that. Some of them never filed anything. Some never reported. Dana frowned, pushing her glasses up. And each time he laughed at the person is stopping. He treats calm like it's suspicious, Marcus said, voice tight but measured. Like it's proof of guilt. The apartment smelled faintly of old paper and burned coffee. Outside, a siren echoed in the distance, routine but unnerving. Marcus sipped the bitter coffee. I've been recording and documenting everything. Notes, video, timestamps. It's tedious, but necessary. Dana's eyes softened. You're going to burn yourself out doing this. Some of these reports disappear. The system protects itself. I know, Marcus said, but patterns don't lie. He tapped the notebook beside the laptop, edges worn. If someone watches long enough, you see what's been ignored. She paused, leaning back. So what's next? Marcus exhaled slowly, scanning the latest patrol logs. We compile, submit, keep a public record if we have to. They can't erase what's documented. And if Griggs notices, Dana asked, he'll retaliate. Marcus's jaw tightened. Then we document that too. Every intimidation, every offhand comment, every casual threat. Dana glanced at the calendar. His bold, he thinks the rules don't apply to him. Even internally, he has a reputation. I know, Marcus said, and that's why this matters. Nobody outside the department can see him laughing at someone's calm, mocking someone's dignity. If I don't record it, no one does. They reviewed footage from the night of the stop. Red and blue light pulsed across Marcus's notebook on the pavement. Griggs' laughter echoed through speakers, cruel, careless. Marcus pressed pause, staring at the frame. See that? The camera caught everything. Every smirk, every condescending gesture. Dana's lips pressed together. He'll claim you provoked him. They always do. They'll say it's hearsay against an officer's word. Marcus leaned back, crossing his arms. Then we strengthen the record. Witnesses, timestamps, corroboration. The more we collect, the less plausible their version becomes. A silence stretched. The apartment seemed smaller, tighter, the weight of evidence pressing down. Outside, a neighbor's dog barked twice, then stopped. Marcus' phone buzzed with a news alert. Local police officer involved in multiple complaints. Internal review underway. Looks like something stirring, Dana said softly. But it's messy. People will spin this. Marcus opened a new folder on his laptop. Messy is fine. Chaos is fine. The truth survives better than lies when it's documented. Griggs thinks calmness is a weakness. He doesn't know it's a weapon if you wield it quietly, carefully. Dana smiled faintly, a mix of pride and worry. You're dangerously calm for someone in the middle of a storm. Marcus allowed a brief grin. I've learned from the best. He reviewed older notes. A man stopped for jaywalking, a woman detained for photographing a public building, a teenager questioned for suspicious behavior. Each note a line connecting the dots. Each line a reminder of a system protecting itself. He typed quickly, annotating timestamps and badge numbers. Dana watched him. You're not just reacting. You're constructing a map of misconduct. Evidence, not vengeance. Marcus paused, hands hovering over the keys. Vengeance doesn't win. Facts win. Documentation wins. Exposure wins. Outside, the hum of the city continued, indifferent, until a single horn blared nearby. Marcus looked up, imagining Griggs in his patrol car, oblivious to the network being quietly built against him. Dana's voice broke the thought. You know he'll notice soon. He'll escalate. Marcus nodded, returning to the screen. Let him. Each move he makes becomes part of the record. He's playing a game, and he doesn't know the rules have changed. They worked late into the night, alternating typing and note-taking. Every entry was meticulous, every detail checked twice. Outside, the world moved, unaware. Inside, Marcus documented a quiet storm. By 2 a.m., the folder was complete. Marcus leaned back, rubbing his eyes. "It's ready," he said. "All patterns, all behavior, all documentation." Dana stood, stretching. "Just make sure you sleep before the storm hits." Marcus smiled faintly, already half-focused on the next step. The calm before the storm isn't wasted time. The laptop's glow reflected in his eyes, steady. A storm was coming, but it would meet patience, precision, and evidence too heavy to ignore. Marcus entered the precinct at 10 a.m., the early sunlight bouncing off the pale green walls and scratched linoleum. A receptionist glanced up, eyebrow raised. "I'm here to file a complaint," Marcus said, calm but firm. The clerk's smile was thin. "Name?" "Marcus Reed, Officer Alan Griggs, badge 7421. A pause, then a soft tap of keys. "Form's at the end of the hall. You fill it out and hand it to Sergeant Mills. He'll review it." Marcus nodded. "Thank you." The hallway smelled faintly of disinfectant and coffee. He noticed the muted hum of fluorescent lights, the low murmur of radios, and the occasional metallic clatter from the booking area. His steps were measured, calm, even, as if every movement could be used against him if needed. Sergeant Mills, middle-aged and neatly pressed, leaned back in a chair when Marcus approached. "Mr. Reed," he said, voice carefully neutral, "here to make a complaint." "Yes, sir." Marcus handed over the printed statement and body cam footage on a flash drive. Mills scrolled through the report. You say Officer Griggs was, what? Mocking? Harassing? Yes. Laughing at me during the stop. Threatening me. Attempting to intimidate me." Mills lifted his eyebrows, a practiced look of mild concern. "We take complaints seriously, of course, but you realize officers deal with hundreds of civilians every week. Sometimes tone is misinterpreted." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Misinterpreted?" He laughed at me, publicly, while I was handcuffed, on his dashcam. The camera caught everything. Mills leaned forward, resting elbows on his desk. "I'm sure it's unpleasant, but you must understand, suspicious behavior can be subjective." "I wasn't suspicious," Marcus said quietly. "I was calm, and calm doesn't equal guilt. Calm doesn't equal suspicion." Mills nodded slowly, as if that explained everything. "I'll flag this review. Internal affairs may follow up." Marcus pressed, keeping his voice steady. "Will they see the dashcam footage? Will they hear the laughter?" Mills glanced away, tapping pens on the desk. "They review everything, eventually. But you should know that Griggs is a record of, well, nothing official. Isolated incidents. Nothing substantiated. These things often resolve quietly." Marcus took a breath. "And when incidents are never substantiated, when patterns go unrecognized, how many people suffer before someone acts?" Mills leaned back, arms crossed. "We follow procedure. We can't act on assumptions." Marcus's fingers flexed over the edges of the folder. "This isn't an assumption. It's recorded evidence. It's not just one stop. It's a series of stops. A pattern." The sergeant gave a polite smile. "I'll submit it. You can leave now." Marcus stood, taking in the room, peeling paint on the ceiling, an old security camera blinking silently, the faint hum of computers and cop chatter. He felt the weight of indifference pressing down. Outside the precinct, the city smelled of asphalt and exhaust. Cars passed. People moved, oblivious to the battle just fought in fluorescent light. Marcus pulled his phone from his pocket and started a voice memo. "Complaint filed," he whispered. "Timestamp verified. Officer Griggs. Body cam uploaded. Note submitted. This is a record they can't erase." He paused, listening to the distant clatter of a garbage truck, the faint buzz of a street light, the low murmur of pedestrians. "The system wants to forget. I won't." At a nearby cafe, Marcus met Dana. She leaned over his shoulder as he opened the folder. Internal response. Minimal. Polite dismissal. Coded language. They'll protect him, but they don't see what we see. Dana frowned. Even so, submitting the evidence puts you on their radar. He'll know you filed something. Marcus nodded. I know, and I'm ready. Each move he makes is now visible. His laughter, his threats, his casual abuse, they're all recorded. And we'll be ready. Dana tapped her finger on the table. This isn't just documentation anymore. It's strategy. Marcus exhaled, a slow release. Yes, evidence in sequence. Witnesses, timestamps, public record if needed. Nothing leaves a paper trail. They reviewed footage from previous incidents. Marcus pointed at a frame. Griggs smirking as a man stood frozen, hands raised slightly. See this? Each stop is a repeat. The same smirk, the same tone, the same presumption of guilt. Dana's lips pressed together. It's insidious and unnoticed by most. Marcus closed the laptop, resolute. Not unnoticed anymore. They won't ignore it now. Outside, the wind picked up, scattering leaves along the sidewalk. Marcus watched the patrol car idle near the corner. He imagined Griggs inside, unaware that calm observation was watching him back. Dana placed a hand on his shoulder. Stay careful. They'll test you. Marcus nodded, lips tight. They'll test me, and I'll be ready. Calm isn't weakness. It's evidence, and evidence wins. He looked at the street, the city breathing, indifferent. Yet every corner, every crosswalk, every patrol car became a witness. Every laugh recorded, every pattern noted. Marcus's calm, once mocked, now carried weight. A single thought solidified. The complaint was only the beginning. Marcus felt it before he saw it. A patrol car slowed near the corner of his block, engine idling a beat too long, lights dimmed. He didn't flinch. He had learned that flinching was proof, not protection. The next day at work, the tension followed him. His office at Civitas Watch, normally quiet and organized, felt claustrophobic. Dana looked up from her desk. Is already noticed, she said softly. Your complaint went through. Marcus nodded, scanning the open plan office. I expected as much. Extra stops, questioning neighbors. Dana hesitated. His subtle, but his escalating. Marcus folded his arms. Every move he makes is part of the record now. We document, we archive, we expose. He doesn't get to decide the narrative. That afternoon, walking to the cafe for a brief break, Marcus felt it again. The same cruiser, parked a few streets over, engine humming. He recorded the license plate. Inside the cafe, a barista glanced at him nervously. You okay? Yes, Marcus said. Just away. He tapped his phone, reviewing timestamps. Every moment mattered. Later, his phone buzzed. A neighbor had texted. Officer asked about you. Seemed curious. Marcus exhaled slowly. Curiosity is a prelude to harassment. Dana leaned back in her chair. He's testing you. See how you respond. Make a mistake, and he'll exaggerate it. Then it becomes justification. Marcus's hands flexed over the keyboard. Then we wait. We record. We let him show his hand. Calm isn't surrender. It's armor, and his impatience will betray him. The following evening, Marcus was driving home when a patrol car signaled him to pull over. Officer Griggs leaned out the window, lips curled. Evening, Mr. Reed, Griggs said. Out for another stroll. Marcus kept his hands on the wheel. Driving home, sir. Griggs' gaze lingered. You filing complaints keeps life interesting, doesn't it? I'm documenting patterns, Marcus said evenly. Not complaints. Same thing, Griggs said, smirking. Makes you suspicious. Marcus exhaled slowly, deliberately. Suspicion isn't guilt. Griggs' eyes flicked to the dashcam, then back to Marcus. He leaned closer, voice low. People like you think the system will protect them. Funny, isn't it? Not funny at all, Marcus replied. Truth doesn't need to be funny to matter. Griggs leaned back, letting the tension linger. Keep walking, or driving. Careful, Mr. Reed. Marcus nodded, noting the subtle threat. Every interaction now carried double weight, personal and evidentiary. At home, Marcus debriefed Dana over video call. Every escalation he makes, Marcus said, is adding to the record. I won't be reactive. I'll be thorough. Calm is deliberate. Dana frowned. But the personal cost, sleep, stress, daily anxiety, it's high. You can't ignore that. I don't, Marcus said. I manage it. He can't touch my integrity. He can't erase what's documented. Each move he makes strengthens the evidence. A week later, news broke. A separate arrest by Griggs had sparked public outrage. Headlines called for internal review. Marcus scrolled through them, noting parallels. Dana's voice was quiet but intense. See? This validates everything. Patterns. Behavior. People are starting to notice. Marcus nodded. And every documented stop strengthens a pattern. His own arrogance will be his undoing. They reviewed past video again. The smirks, the laughter, the casual intimidation. Marcus froze on one frame, Griggs' hand brushing against his cuffs during the first stop. Too familiar, too casual. Detail matters, Marcus said. People see the headlines, but they won't see the microaggressions unless we show them. Every gesture, every word counts. Dana nodded. Then we keep going. Exposure, evidence, corroboration. Marcus exhaled, stretching. Calm is a weapon, but only if we wield it strategically. Retaliation doesn't scare me. It confirms a pattern. And patterns are what change systems. Outside, night fell. The patrol car that had been lingering for blocks finally drove away. Marcus uploaded the latest footage, noting time, location, and his own observations. A single thought lingered as he closed the laptop. Retaliation was inevitable, but each move Griggs made now worked against him. The laughter, the mockery, the intimidation, all recorded, all time-stamped, all undeniable. Marcus leaned back, exhausted but resolute. Calmness had always been survival. Now, it was power, and the system would see it. Marcus stared at a laptop screen, the glow illuminating the dark circles under his eyes. He had reviewed the footage countless times, but tonight was different. Tonight, he had found it, the crucial frame that could expose everything. Dana leaned in, her finger hovering over the play button. This is it. Marcus nodded, tapping the keyboard. The moment he lies on paper, but the camera tells the truth. The tape played. Griggs stood over Marcus during the first stop, smiling, laughing, mocking his calm, his posture, even his eyes. The dashcam captured every nuance. The way Griggs' hand hovered over the cuffs, the casual flick of his badge, the soft sneer that betrayed amusement. Dana exhaled. He can't deny this. They'll try, Marcus said quietly. They always do. But we're prepared. Timing is everything. We release strategically, not recklessly. He paused the video, freezing on Griggs' smirk. This is a smoking gun. Not just one incident. This proves intent, pattern, and abuse of authority. Dana leaned back. Internal affairs. Marcus shook his head. Not yet. First, we verify every timestamp, every angle. Then we submit to IA and the journalist. But carefully, we control the narrative. Dana's eyes narrowed. You realize releasing it too soon could backfire. Griggs could spin this. He's already popular in certain precincts. People will defend him. Marcus nodded. I know. That's why the record must be airtight. Every complaint, every note, every timestamp, all corroborated. If he tries to claim misinterpretation, the evidence speaks for itself. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the laptop and occasional traffic outside. Marcus rewound the tape, frame by frame, highlighting gestures, laughter, words, and pauses. Dana pointed at the screen. See that? The way he circles you. That's intimidation, not just casual questioning. And this, laughing while you remain calm. That's psychological pressure. Marcus's lips pressed together. Exactly. And the calmness isn't passive. It's evidence. Each pause, each controlled breath, each steady hand counters as aggression, shows the imbalance of power. And now it's recorded. He pulled up the folder with past complaints, cross-referencing the timestamps with a new tape. Patterns matter more than isolated incidents. Alone, he could claim misunderstanding. Together, it's a record of repeated misconduct. Dana frowned. You're brave or stubborn. Maybe both. But this will change things. Marcus leaned back, eyes on the ceiling. It already is changing things. The system doesn't like being watched. And now, every move he makes will be under scrutiny. He reviewed previous stops. The teenager questioned for standing too long at a bus stop, the woman detained for photographing a building, the man stopped for jaywalking. Each incident mirrored the same behavior: laughter, mockery, overreach. Dana broke the silence. You're assembling a pattern that can't be ignored. This is bigger than one complaint. It's systemic exposure. Marcus's fingers hovered over the keyboard. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for accountability. If we show the pattern, we force the system to confront it, and maybe prevent it from happening to someone else. Dana glanced at the clock. You need sleep. This is relentless. I'll rest when it's done, Marcus said. Every night I spend reviewing, cross-referencing, and verifying, it strengthens a record. It's work that cannot be undone. They spent hours annotating, logging, and preparing a package. The footage was copied, notes meticulously compiled, timestamps verified, and a concise summary written. Every detail mattered: officer behavior, environmental context, witness reactions. Finally, Marcus leaned back, exhausted. It's ready. Dana exhaled. You've built an A-type record, but the real test is public perception. Are they ready to believe evidence over authority? Marcus smiled faintly. They will, and if they don't, we have the sequence, the corroboration, and the narrative. Griggs' own actions will betray him. Calm will outlast arrogance. The hum of the laptop seemed louder in the quiet apartment. Outside, the city breathed in its usual rhythm, unaware of the storm about to break. Marcus closed his eyes briefly, recalling Griggs' laughter, the sound that haunted him for weeks. The tape immortalized it. He leaned forward, typing a final note, all evidence verified. Submission ready. Time-stamped, sequenced, cross-referenced. No room for dispute. Dana rested a hand on his shoulder. Tomorrow, this changes everything. Marcus nodded, lips tight. Calm doesn't just survive. It exposes. And tonight, it's weaponized in truth. Outside, a siren wailed in the distance. Marcus didn't flinch. He had watched, he had documented, and he had prepared. The laughter that once mocked him would now echo through evidence, testimony, and public record. The storm was coming, and Marcus, with quiet resolve and unwavering calm, was ready to meet it. The morning news hit Marcus' phone like a jolt. Local officer under review after multiple complaints. Footage raises questions. Dana leaned over his shoulder. They ran the tape. Marcus exhaled, tracing the glowing pixels of the footage. Griggs' laughter, frozen gestures, and casual intimidation now played for the public. It's out. Now it's real. The newsroom buzzed with activity. Reporters reached out for interviews, citizens tweeted clips, and community forums erupted with commentary. Marcus' phone vibrated relentlessly, alerts piling on each other. Dana muttered, "This is chaos." And that's good. But chaos can turn on you if you're not careful. I know, Marcus said, fingers tapping the screen, reviewing responses. Truth isn't always convenient. It's messy, but it sticks. At the precinct, the ripples were already visible. Officers whispered in corridors. Some shrugged, defending Griggs. Others lowered their eyes, unsettled. Dana's voice came from the side. You're shaking the institution. People will defend him, yes, but they'll also notice the weight of evidence. Marcus nodded. And the system is starting to see what we've been documenting. Patterns cannot be erased now. Later, in a controlled interview with a local journalist, Marcus spoke with precision. Questions came rapid fire. Why did you wait to release this footage? Aren't you putting yourself at risk? Marcus leaned forward, calm but resolute. Because evidence is only powerful when verified. I didn't release a moment of anger or rumor. I released documented, corroborated fact. And yes, There's risk, but accountability always carries risk. The journalist scribbled furiously. Some officers say your method could undermine trust in law enforcement. How do you respond? Marcus' eyes didn't waver. Trust in law enforcement is earned. When officers mock, intimidate, and abuse power, ignoring it doesn't protect trust, it erodes it. Evidence doesn't undermine trust, it strengthens justice. Outside, civilians began sharing their own experiences. Videos, statements, even casual observations reinforced Marcus' tape. Each contribution amplified the pattern. Dana watched him. This is bigger than one complaint. It's systemic. Marcus nodded. And visible. That's a difference now. Meanwhile, Griggs sat in a small office, face pale, fuming silently. He scrolled through social media. Seeing his image splash across timelines, his laughter looped endlessly. A subordinate whispered, "Sir, you might want to explain yourself." Griggs barked a laugh. Explain? There's nothing to explain. This is manipulation, fabrication. But internally, he felt the first sting of vulnerability. The pattern, once invisible, was now undeniable. At Civita's watch, Marcus reviewed incoming reports. "Look at this," he said, pointing at a feed of citizen uploads. "This corroborates the tape. His losing control of the narrative." Dana nodded. "And the administration?" "They are scrambling," Marcus said. "Administrative leave, carefully worded statements, damage control. They want to contain it, but containment doesn't undo documentation." Evenings brought tension, though, as messages flooded Marcus' phone. Threats, warnings, skeptical comments. Dana reminded him, gently but firmly, they'll push back. Stay strategic. Calm isn't just for evidence, it's for survival. At home, Marcus stared out the window, city lights reflecting in his eyes. He recalled Griggs' casual smirk, the laugh meant to belittle, the unspoken power over him. Now, it was public. Now, it was exposed. Dana's voice cut in, softer this time. "You're doing something dangerous, Marcus, but necessary. And that's rare. Most people walk away." Marcus breathed slowly. "Dangerous, yes, but the calm we preserve and record is more powerful than intimidation. The evidence is louder than laughter. The system can ignore one complaint, but not the pattern." Outside, traffic hummed. Pedestrians passed, the city unaware of the battles waged through documents and pixels. Yet the world was beginning to shift. Light had been cast on what had been shadowed for too long. Marcus exhaled, checking his notes one last time before sleep. Tomorrow, the internal review hearing would begin, and every move, every documented moment, would speak louder than words. Dana leaned back in her chair. "Public light is harsh. Be prepared for the backlash." Marcus' gaze didn't falter. Backlash doesn't erase facts. It never has. And the truth will survive the noise. He closed the laptop, leaving the city lights flickering outside. Calm had become a weapon, documentation a shield, and the storm of public scrutiny was only beginning. And in the quiet, Marcus allowed a moment of grim satisfaction. The laughter that had once mocked him now played for the world to see. The exposure was just the beginning, and the pattern would not be denied. The conference room smelled of disinfectant and nervous tension. Marcus sat at one end of a long, polished table, folders stacked neatly before him. The internal review panel entered. 3 officers in crisp uniforms, a civilian oversight representative, and Sergeant Mills. Their eyes flicked to him, polite but calculating. Marcus cleared his throat, feeling the familiar weight of scrutiny. Every micro-expression, every glance would be noted, catalogued. Calm, he reminded himself. Calm was documentation in motion. "Mr. Reed," the lead officer began, voice clipped. "You submitted complaints against Officer Griggs spanning several incidents. Can you summarize for the panel?" Marcus nodded, opening his first folder. "Yes. Officer Griggs has repeatedly used intimidation, mockery, and verbal harassment during stops. I have documented at least 8 incidents over the past year. Each includes time-stamped video, witness statements, and personal notes." He tapped the body cam footage onto the screen. The panel's faces remained neutral, but the red and blue light flickered across their eyes, and Griggs, seated at the back, stiffened. "That's compelling," one officer said, voice tight. "But interpretation can be subjective. Tone, demeanor, these are difficult to quantify." Marcus met their eyes. Tone is not subjective when it is captured on video. Laughter at a restrained individual, smirks while questioning, gestures intended to intimidate, these are observable, repeatable, and corroborated by multiple sources. A civilian oversight member spoke next. "And these aren't isolated incidents." "No, patterns are evident. Each stop mirrors the next. Public humiliation, presumption of guilt, escalation when met with calm. Calmness, in fact, seems to trigger him." Griggs shifted in his chair. His lips pressed into a thin line. "I was doing my job," he interjected, voice louder than necessary. "This is exaggerated. Mr. Reed misinterprets casual policing as harassment." Marcus didn't flinch. "I do not misinterpret. The pattern is documented. Intent is shown in repetition and consistency, not perception. The video and timestamps corroborate each other." One of the painless exhaled, glancing at the footage. "We'll need to review all the supporting evidence." Marcus nodded. "Of course. It's all organized and cross-referenced. Nothing is missing. Everything is verifiable." A hush fell. The only sounds were the flick of a pen, the soft hum of the projector, and the occasional cough. Then the lead officer leaned forward. "Mr. Reed, you remained calm during these incidents. Did you ever provoke Officer Griggs? Was your demeanor antagonistic?" Marcus paused. "Calm, precise. I was calm. Calm is not antagonism. It is survival, and it is evidence. It does not provoke, rather, exposes inappropriate behavior." Griggs' jaw twitched. The smirk that had haunted Marcus in the first stop was gone, replaced by tight lips and narrowed eyes. One painless whispered to another, just enough for Marcus to notice. "Patterns do matter." "Mr. Reed," said a civilian oversight member, voice measured, "how has this affected you personally?" Marcus exhaled. "Fear, tension, stress. I've had to monitor every step, anticipate retaliation, and protect both myself and my work. The emotional toll is high, but the work is necessary. Calmness, observation, documentation. They are the tools that make systemic accountability possible." The lead officer shifted, clearly uncomfortable. "Officer Griggs, your response." Griggs' voice faltered slightly. I followed procedure. Any perception otherwise is." Marcus cut in softly, not angrily, letting the calm sting. "Procedure does not excuse intimidation. Procedure does not excuse mockery. Procedure is meaningless if power is abused." A stunned silence filled the room. For a moment, only the hum of the projector and the flicker of the screen playing Griggs' laughter filled the air. The panel deliberated, voices low but tense. Marcus remained seated, watching Griggs' posture sag subtly with each passing minute. The arrogance that had seemed untouchable was cracking. Finally, the lead officer toned. "The panel has reviewed all materials. We acknowledge the severity of these incidents. The findings will be forwarded to the Department for Administrative Action." Griggs' lips twitched in a forced, tight smile. Marcus felt no triumph in the moment, only the quiet weight of what had been done and the work yet to come. After the hearing, Dana met him outside the building. "You were incredible," she said. "Composed, precise, undeniable." Marcus exhaled, rubbing his wrists where the cuffs had once been. "The calm is never just about me. It's about the record. Every gesture, every pause, every word counts toward accountability." Dana nodded. "And Griggs?" Marcus paused. "Is cornered, and that's when patterns collapse. We've done our part. The system will decide next." The sun reflected off the city streets, indifferent, yet somehow brighter. Evidence, carefully curated and calmly presented, had begun to pierce the armor of power. Marcus looked back at the building, feeling the hum of justice beginning to move. Calm had not failed. Documentation had not failed. Truth, at last, was visible. And somewhere behind the layers of bureaucracy, the laughter that had once mocked him now played for all to see. Marcus sat at his desk, watching the news scroll across the screen. Griggs had been placed on administrative leave. The department issued a carefully worded statement, acknowledging the need for thorough review and promising to uphold public trust. Dana leaned against the doorframe. Administrative leave doesn't feel like victory. No, Marcus admitted, but it's a first step. The pattern has been exposed. Public scrutiny is impossible to ignore now. Outside, the city moved on, indifferent, yet the ripples of truth reached deeper than the streets. Community forums buzzed with discussion. Social media echoed the footage, the laughter, the documentation. Citizens who had once feared speaking up now shared their own experiences. Marcus took a deep breath. Accountability isn't instantaneous. Justice isn't theatrical. It's procedural, meticulous, and sometimes painfully slow. But it's happening. Dana pulled up a chair. In the department, internal reviews. They are navigating the optics, Marcus said. Griggs' colleagues offer muted support. Some defend him outright. But the evidence is overwhelming. Patterns can't be denied. A message appeared on Marcus' phone, a local journalist requesting follow-up commentary for an investigative piece. He replied carefully, highlighting systemic patterns without exaggeration, ensuring every word was precise, verified, and defensible. Later that evening, Marcus met with Dana in a quiet cafe. "Do you ever wonder if it's enough?" she asked. Marcus thought for a moment. Enough isn't about revenge. It's about record, exposure, and preventing further abuse. The emotional cost is high, but the system now has to respond. The work persists beyond one officer, one complaint, one stop. Dana sighed. You've paid a high price. Anxiety, stress, public attention. I've learned, Marcus said. Calm is not absence of emotion. It's measured application of awareness, observation, documentation. It's not easy, but it preserves integrity and increases impact. The cafe was quiet, save for the low hum of conversation and clinking cups. Outside, traffic flowed, oblivious to the battles fought in fluorescent-lit rooms and across pixels of footage. Back home, Marcus reviewed a timeline of the past year, 8 stops, patterns confirmed, cumulative evidence compiled. Each incident now part of an unassailable record. Each laugh, each gesture, each intimidation meticulously documented and corroborated. Dana's voice was calm but firm. Do you feel vindicated? Marcus shook his head. Vindication is irrelevant. Justice isn't about emotion, it's about consequence. And consequences are now visible. A final alert popped on his laptop. Griggs had been formally referred for investigation. Termination discussions were underway. For the first time, the officer who had mocked his calm faced tangible, institutional consequences. Marcus exhaled slowly. Justice isn't immediate. It's methodical. But methodical works, sometimes better than rage. Dana reached out. And for you? The cost. Marcus paused. Sleep disrupted. Trust fractured. Relationships tested. The emotional toll is permanent, but it's a price I accept. Calm, evidence, documentation. They protect truth, even when they can't protect feelings. Outside, the city lights glimmered. Sirens wailed in the distance, reminders that injustice still existed, still lingered. Yet tonight, Marcus allowed himself a rare moment of quiet. The storm had begun to shift. Patterns mattered. Evidence prevailed. Laughter that once belittled now testified. Dana smiled faintly. The work continues, though you know that. Marcus nodded. It does. Calm isn't passive. Observation continues. Accountability doesn't end with one officer or one story. It's the ongoing act of documenting, witnessing, and exposing systemic patterns until change becomes inevitable. He closed the laptop, letting the quiet settle. Tomorrow, the system would move a little further toward consequence. And Marcus, despite the cost, remained prepared. For once, the calm that had been mocked felt like resilience, a measured, precise force that had started to shift the balance of power. Months had passed. The city had moved, oblivious to many things, yet subtle shifts lingered, patterns of accountability, whispers of caution in precincts, and the quiet knowledge that actions now had consequences. Marcus walked the same streets where he had once been mocked, cuffed, and laughed at. The streetlights cast pools of yellow and wet asphalt, reflections shimmering like fractured memories. Calm guided each step. Dana's voice came over the phone. Cases are still coming in. People are reporting behavior you documented months ago. It's growing. Marcus nodded, even though she couldn't see him. Patterns matter. Exposure matters. Calm endures. It's not perfect, but it works. At the corner where the first stop had occurred, a young man approached him cautiously. "Excuse me, are you Marcus Reed?" "I am," Marcus said, careful, measured. You helped me. You documented it. The stop I had, I kept thinking no one would see. But you did." Marcus smiled faintly. Calm and observation are tools. But people like you sharing your story, that's what amplifies the work. The young man nodded, eyes bright with gratitude. "Thank you. Really, it matters." Marcus watched him go, footsteps echoing softly. Each step reminded him why he persisted. The stakes were personal, but the work was systemic. Back at his apartment, Marcus opened a fresh notebook. Blank pages, waiting. He traced the first line carefully, slowly, deliberately. Dana leaned over his shoulder. "Another project?" "Yes," Marcus said. "Patterns never stop. Behavior doesn't pause because one officer was exposed. Calm never rests either." She smiled faintly. "You're relentless." Marcus chuckled softly. "No, I'm precise. Calm isn't passive. It's active, strategic, observing, documenting, waiting for the right moment to illuminate truth." He paused, glancing at the city beyond his window. Lights flickered in apartments, sirens wailed in the distance, and somewhere, police radios murmured in the night. "The cost?" Dana said softly. "You've paid a lot. Emotionally, mentally, public attention. It's not easy." Marcus set his pen down, fingers brushing the edge of the notebook. "Yes, sleep loss, anxiety constant, relationships tested. But the calm I maintain, it's more than survival. It's a foundation, and it's proof that methodical persistence beats intimidation." He reopened the previous files, scanning the evidence one last time. Every timestamp, every frame, every corroborating statement, a testament to careful observation, patience, and endurance. Dana's gaze softened. "And you'll continue?" Marcus nodded. "Always. Calm is not weakness. It's resilience. It's preparation. And patterns persist. So must documentation." Outside, a patrol car passed, lights off, quiet. Marcus watched it, calm but alert. The officer inside could not know that observation never sleeps, that documentation never rests, and that accountability is an ongoing force, patient and relentless. He wrote the first words on the new page: observe, record, persist. Calm endures. Closing the notebook, he looked out across the city. The street where he had once been humiliated felt different now. He could see the stakes, the risks, the consequences, and the victories, all tempered by the knowledge that calm had turned the tide. A young voice called from a nearby alley, thanking him again. Marcus waved, a subtle, quiet gesture. Each acknowledgement, each shared experience, reinforced the pattern. The city was shifting, imperceptibly yet inevitably. He exhaled, feeling the weight of the past year in his chest. Calm had survived mockery, laughter, intimidation, and bureaucracy. Calm had observed, endured, and now, subtly but undeniably, had made change. The lights flickered, the city breathed, and Marcus Reed, notebook in hand, walked on. Calm was no longer mistaken for silence. It was a quiet, foreshaping justice, one documented truth at a time.